What's good, everybody? Welcome in. Making sure all my audio is working today, unlike last week. Appreciate the heads up in the midst of the video. Today we are going to do something in the category of how do I. This is something I've recently discovered. It is called a battle box. Yes, I am on a kick lately of finding ways to use stuff that I've already got or that I can acquire very easily from my LGS, aka Comix Cafe, and enjoy playing the game with friends. This is something that you can do quickly. The style we're going to talk about today, the battle box. And so the video we're going to do is going to be fairly quick. I'm still in the process of creating my battle box. And so this is all kind of stuff that is fresh, things that I'm thinking about as I create it. And I want to share it with you so that maybe you can do the same thing. But I would also say, if you catch me at Comix Cafe, the chances are I'm probably going to have this with me. At least it's going to be in the car. And I will be ready to maybe catch a quick game if you have a moment and I have a moment. So, without further ado, we're going to talk about how to build a battle box. Let's get into it. All right. So, a battle box is not, I repeat, a battle box is not a cube. Okay. It is not something you draft with. So the idea is this is something you could do very quickly. In other words, you set the box on the table, you draw your cards, and you begin playing without any kind of setup, or at least with minimal setup. I think the way I'm going to do mine is it's going to be with no setup. Like you can literally open the box and just begin playing. So I'm guessing you probably have one of these guys laying around. It's like a fat pack box. At least that's what they used to call them back in the day, is a fat pack box. You probably have one of these laying around. The idea is that my battle box will actually fit in this, and I can plop this down on the table at Comix Cafe, and myself and one other person can sit down and we can play a very quick game. So, how quick is often how, like the first question I will have. You're talking a 10 to 15 minute game, depending on how you build your battle box. Now mine, I'm always looking to be a little different when it comes to build. I like things to be thematic. I like things to kind of line up. If you know me and you've seen me, I almost always have my one drop commander decks with me. So my commander costs 1 and everything in the deck costs 1 mana. Just 1. Not 0, because that wouldn't go in line with... It's not just about having low to the ground cost, it's about having a very specific cost. And so I am going to construct, based on what I can tell, maybe the very first one drop battle box. So that's what you see in front of you. You see me going through, I have collected tons of one drop cards. And what you're looking at in front of you right now, the stuff that's spread out, is only the one drop black sorceries. This is a stack of my one drop black creatures. This is a stack of my one drop black instants. This is a stack over here, and this corner down here is some of the one drop stuff I've already gone through. Enchantments, artifacts, equipment, that kind of stuff that is one black mana. This is a stack of red that I've gone through here. The stack of white, the stack of green. I'm still yet to go through my blue stuff, my colorless stuff, and my multicolor stuff. Yes, believe it or not, there are one drop multicolor cards. Thanks to the split 1 and 1, or based on, so for instance, Rakdos Cackler, 1 drop. Footlight Fiend, 1 drop. Claim and Fame. So as long as one side, part of it is a 1 drop, it gets in. So typically I go with the part that's at the top there. So Fame is a 2 drop, obviously, but we'll allow it if it makes the cut. So that's what I'm doing right now, is going through and trying to figure out what makes the cut. The deck will contain all colors, and here's how it's played. You have your one deck. All those cards are sleeved together. Now, I put some links down in the description where you can go and click and see some of the ideas people have there. At least 100 cards, but it'll be a quick game. But I've seen battle boxes that are 500, 600, 700 cards. My goal is to not go quite that far. I do have a lot of stuff I'm going to have to cut out. My guess is my battle box is going to be somewhere in the range of probably about 250, maybe 300, which means that I'm going to have about 50 cards per color and then 50 between my colorless and multicolored stuff. Now, you might go, okay, well, what about land? It's a good question. So in a battle box style, you have 2 sets of land. And so there's multiple ways you could do this even. So you have some tapped dual lands. And so forest, plains, mountain, forest. So these are the ones that actually have the land type on them. These came out of the Dominaria United block, or the Dominaria United set. You could go over here and find the ones that don't have the land type on them, but they're still the dual tap land. And then the other thing I thought about, and I haven't pulled all these out yet, but I also thought you could even do the snow lands. And it's the ones with the land type. They're snow land. They're still enter the battlefield tapped. I would stay away from stuff that has like an additional ability, like gain a life or anything else. Just because then each player doesn't have 20 life, they have 25 life. So the land, you have a set of 5 dual lands, and then you will have one of each of the basic lands, and those will be yours from they're out of play. They're not in the deck. And you can play 1 land from outside of the game per turn. That's the rule that you play by. The deck that you have will determine how you do the drawing. If you go to the link, it says that you have a starting hand of 4. Well, I'm doing a 1-drop deck, and so I'm still going to go with a starting hand of 7 with this deck. And then because you will often kind of play through the cards in your hand, you're probably not going to go empty in your hand because you're going to have interaction in your hand, but you're going to draw through a lot of cards. So with this deck, at the beginning of your upkeep, or not the beginning of your upkeep, on your draw step, you will draw back up to 7 cards. So every turn you will get back up to 7 cards. I haven't play tested that yet, so that may be incredibly broken, but I don't know. We'll see. There are no mulligans. The whole idea is that when you build the deck, it's equally distributed based on colors and power levels. Obviously, with everything being a 1-drop, the power level is going to be fairly standard, but there are some cards, because it is a 1-drop deck, they will be more powerful. They will be better cards in this kind of format. 2 other things. So you're not going to have anything that would create a search or a shuffle in your deck. Because the deck is shared. So I forgot to mention that, right? So the deck is all together. The deck is shared. Each person has their own battlefield. Each person has their own discard pile and exile and hand. But the deck itself is shared. So on my turn, I draw from the top of the deck. And then when it's my opponent's turn, they draw from the top of the deck. This is why there's no shuffling. There's no searching. Because then it would just make everything really convoluted. And then the other thing that I've kind of been thinking about is... so their rules on the linked page say no mana acceleration and no land destruction. I agree with the land destruction part. I think that doesn't go with the spirit of the game, and it would really slow things down potentially. I'm not sure about the acceleration part, though. And you might go, well, why would you want mana acceleration in a 1-drop deck? Well, because not everything in here is just a 1-drop. Some of them have a 1-drop, but they have like a big kicker cost. Some of them are a 1-drop, but they have an X next to the 1, and so you could potentially get some more value out of that. And you might be sitting there going, I don't think you're being a 1-drop purist. That may be true. But that is the basics of what goes on with a battle box. And so, like I said, I'm in the middle of figuring out what I'm going to do with this deck. There are some things I'm noticing, though. For instance, so let's go harsh scrutiny. Let's literally scrutinize this a little bit. So target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a creature card from it. That player discards that card. Scry 1. I'm not doing any scry abilities. I'm not doing anything really that will, outside of drawing or something that is effectively a draw, I'm not really interested in kind of manipulating the deck. So I'm gonna leave cards like that out. Check this one out. This one's Dread. Is it Fugue? I don't know what that says. Anyway, maybe I should have practiced this. But this sorcery says it has a cleave cost. So you can cast a spell for its cleave cost, which would be 4 when it's all said and done. 2 black or no, it's not an additional cost. It is just a replacement cost. So 2 and a black, so 3. And the target player reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. Okay, well, if you cleave, if you pay for the more expensive, you get to leave out the with mana value of 2 or less. But we don't need to do that because everything in this deck is mana value 2 or less. And so you pay it for 1 and you get maximum value out of it. So that's kind of cool. So that's a card that's stronger in this format. This is another one of those. Appetite for Brains. Brains. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a card from it with converted mana cost 4 or greater and exile that card. That card, this card is useless in this style. If everything's 1-drop, because you're never going to find something that's converted mana cost 4 or greater, and therefore you will never exile a card. Just an example of some of the things. There's things that are better, there's things that are worse, and it really depends on what rules you establish with your deck. But the whole idea behind this is that it would just be a super quick game. You have 20 life. You are coming out of the gates really quickly. It's going to go very fast in theory, unless I think that the drawing back up to 7 will encourage people to play cards instead of hold cards in their hand. Because if you don't play the cards, then you're not going to draw new stuff, and so it's going to encourage you to kind of, at the very least, play cards to get them out of your hand or recycle them so that you can get more stuff. So that is what I'm doing. And so this is something that, like I said, if you catch me at Comix, I'm going to have this probably handy with me somewhere. So next thing I got to do is go look through my instant sorceries. But I'm going to have this with me. And if you want to try to catch a quick game and see what it's all about and help me playtest, maybe, if it's super early on, I would really appreciate that. That'd be really cool. So now I am. Oh, and the other thing is, if this deck is a lot bigger. I mean, if it's pushing 400 or 500 cards, you could easily put 4 sets of land in there, and so you could have 2 games going at the same time, all of them drawing from the same deck, or you could have a 4-player game going and all of them drawing off the same deck. So the possibilities are, I'm not going to say they're limitless, but there's a lot of possibilities when it comes to this. All right, so I would love to hear your comments and questions about this. If you have any questions about the build I'm trying to do, or if you have a specific rule that you think would work really well with this 1-drop deck, or I also put a link in there to go to, is it Cube Cobra, I think, and you can go and look at other people's builds. But I think this is one of those things that you build and you kind of make it your own. Like the cube, the draft cube, the vintage draft cube that I created. I mean, yeah, I stuck to a very specific deck list because there's a lot involved in making something like that kind of balanced. And it's also something that we're going to put at Comix so that people can come play with it. And I want it to have been tested already. This is something I'm just going to hang out and use with my friends or with people that maybe we're playing at Comix and we've finished up a game, or I got knocked out of a Commander game early. That never happens. And then I could catch a quick game with somebody using the battle box. So now that we're done talking about that, I think we're gonna wrap up our time together with a pack opening. You know what I should do before I do that though? Let's handle some business. Let's go to our giveaway and let's go ahead and spin. It is a coin toss today between Mrs. Kimberly and Lloyd. And so y'all have definitely been very consistent in posting, so that's really awesome. I appreciate you guys doing that. Lloyd, business time. Yes, it is. All right, here we go. Winner of today's drawing. Hold on, let me get that a little more centered. There we go. of today's drawing is... Oh, man, Lloyd, that was so close. I thought I was going to keep going. Mrs. Kimberly, you are the winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. If there were, in fact, a chicken dinner involved. I don't think there is. But if you like chicken and you like dinner, Comix Cafe has some delicious, delicious food that you can enjoy while you're playing. All right. Without further ado, everything is kind of washed out because of how bright these cards are. It's funny. Like, I do that, and everything looks so much, but I put that there, and it's so bright. So I'm going to move these guys out because I would like for you to be able to see the cards I'm opening more easily. Notice how that makes everything so much less washed out. Okay. So our first pack was Innistrad Midnight Hunt. That's interesting. With that back card. I don't know if you can see that. If I can get it to focus. Focus. There. Almost. There we go. Anyway. That corner's kind of bent there. Weird. Alright. Ooh, nice mountain. Let's see what we get. A little blast from the past in the Midnight Hunt. Malevolent Hermit. That can then be transformed into the Benevolent Geist. Do we have any cards in this pack that would go into... No one-drop cards in this pack. Come on. All right. So, I guess I forgot to mention this. So don't forget, if you win, you need to catch me, preferably on Discord. Shoot me a message, direct message. I'm the guy that posts in the YouTube promo section. And let me know which colored sleeve. Now, I didn't show that this time because Lloyd and Miss Kimberly, you guys are both very seasoned with this, but there's multiple different colored sleeves, and then you choose A or B, and I give you what is inside or what is represented by what is inside that sleeve. And so, Mrs. Kimberly, make sure you do that for me. Okay, I again didn't look. Okay, so End the Festivities would be a card that would potentially go in this deck, and I think I already have a copy in the maybe pile. That's interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen that particular card in that frame style. That's cool. Skulking Killer. Whoa, nice. Mirage Phalanx. That's a really, really cool card. That's a commander card. I believe that was fetching a pretty penny for a little while. Winged Portent. So it looks like a skull in the flock of bats. What do you call a bunch of bats? Not a flock. Crows are a murder. Bats are definitely not a flock. Gift of Fangs. That's a one drop that's definitely in the potential pile for my one drop deck. I forgot to keep putting my rares. Flock of bats. Lloyd, any idea what a group of bats is called? I have no idea. All right, this is the example of the cards, like I said, that probably wouldn't be good to go in as your tapped land. I mean, it is a tap dual land, but having something that gives an extra life will just make the game go longer. The other thing I thought about with the battle box is that I would maybe intentionally, there's another one drop that is in the maybe pile, but intentionally leave out cards. There's another one drop. Hot Shot Mechanic. I'm going to finish my thought here in just a second. Invoke Justice. That's a really cool card. March of Wretched Sorrow. It's a nice modern age foil. I like that. That modern age card is pretty sweet. But leaving out cards that create tokens. Trying to minimize. It is a Bruce Pass. Oh, please, please, please let that be true. Because then Bruce Wayne, that would be amazing. It was just like a little Easter egg to be a hint that he is in fact Batman. I'm not saying he is. Spoiler alert. Scrapwork Mutt Shoot Down. Any one drops. Hey, there's one. Haywire Might. Ooh, nice. Journeyer's Kite. And that schematic and Titania's Command. Very nice. Oh, there we go. Stasis Coffin. Foil. Very cool. Very, very cool. All right. Moving on to Phyrexia. All will be one. I will fall out of my seat laughing if that is actually what a group of bats is called. I'm going to check after. Oh, wow. Techathal, Inquiry, Dominus, Mythic, Foil, Ecor. That is sweet. Wow. Jorkadim, first Gold Warden. Very nice. And that is a good pack. I don't like how they organized that set in particular. Because it's like, rare, and you're done. I mean, I guess it's good if you're not wanting to have to reorganize your stuff and just go in and look at the rare. I guess that's good. All right. We got Phyrexian Mirror. That's a one-drop. Urn of Godfire foil. It's kind of cool. Bloodfeather Phoenix. Squee the Immortal. That's all the rares that we got, I believe. Any other one-drops? Nope. All right, 3 more packs. Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth, coming up next. If there's any of these cards that you see that we open that you must have in your deck, let me know. Ooh, Grima. That's cool artwork for Grima. But let us know that you want those, and we'll set them aside for you. We'll get a price and set aside so that you can, for your ease of pickup. Rush the Room. There's a one-drop. There's a Grima with the Grima Worm Tongue. Many Partings. Another one-drop. Rivendell. Nice. Mirror of Galadriel. So one other thing, so there are no other lands. So the deck itself is just full of spells. Everything in the battle box is just spells. No other lands. Which is why I think they were saying, they were not going to do any kind of mana acceleration. What I think they mean by that would be not going to do anything that is like mana dorks. Because obviously you're not going to do any mana acceleration like going and looking for land because there's nothing to look for. Commune with Nature. One drop. So, for instance, that card could go in. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them, put it into your hand, and put the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. That would be okay, except I'm not really super interested in doing a lot of deck manipulation. So that would be kind of borderline, because you're not shuffling, you're just looking at the top 5, you're putting stuff back on the bottom, and so it's not, again, it's not deck manipulation. So, Fawnsbane Troll, Season of Growth, Evolving Wilds, that's a cool foil Evolving Wilds though, kind of neat. Elemental, token, Elementary, my dear Watson, last pack magic. Here we go. Modern Horizons 2. We still have some Modern Horizons 2 available at Comix. I actually got to watch someone open a whole box of that last week. That was really cool to sit and watch. We're just going to open one pack today. We want to make sure as many of those that you guys want are available. Floodhound could be in the one-drop deck. Speaking of could be in the one-drop deck, how about a Ragavan? What a pull. Pull of the day, pull of the week, maybe pull of the month. That's fantastic. Enchantress's Presence, rather, Brainstone. Tangle Pool. So this is another example of the lands that you could put into your deck. Indestructible doesn't really matter because I think the thing that would matter more would be the fact that they're artifacts, and they're, you know, that would make cards that count artifacts way more powerful. Y'all, I'll take a Ragavan all day, every day. Very cool. All right, y'all. Well, I hope this is giving you some stuff to think about. Maybe you're going to go out and maybe try to build your own. Or perhaps next time you see me, you're going to go, hey, do you have that battle box? You want to catch a game real quick? And maybe we'll sit down and we'll see how long it actually takes to get a game in with the battle box. My thought is that it's something you can do pretty quickly. So you can do it between commander rounds if you get knocked out and there's other people just sitting around that got knocked out. You could do it while you're waiting for an event to begin, like an FNM or maybe a pre-release or a release draft. Or about time for the store to close. And you're like, I hate to waste this last 20 minutes. We can't start a new commander game, but we could catch a battle box game. So just encourage you to check it out. It's a lot of fun. I really am into finding new ways to enjoy stuff that I've already got, or like I said, or that I can easily acquire. I think you could go sit up at Comix and you could pull down some of the bulk stuff and just make your own battle box. You could even do it like a single color, monocolor. You could do go through and find do a battle box that is just the most recent set. That's always not sorted in. Literally the possibilities are endless. So, all right, y'all. Well, it's been fun. It's been real, and it is Halloween today. So, for those of you that are having some festivities today, I hope you have a good time. Hope you're safe. Like I said, it's been real. It's been fun. It has been real fun. Be safe out there, y'all. See you next time. Thursday, Pokemon. Next Tuesday, Magic. Later, y'all. And now to go Google if a group of bats is called a Bruce of bats. Later, y'all.